Some personalities are born to walk the well-traveled path. And then there are the INFJs, the rarest of the rare, only 1% of the world's population.
Let's solve an interesting problem. What is 1% of the world's population? As of November 2023, the world population is approximately 8 billion people. To find 1%, we need to multiply the total population by 0.01, since 1% is equal to 100th, or 0.01. Let's solve this step by step. We'll multiply 8 billion by 0.01. To make this easier to understand, we can move the decimal point 2 places to the left in 8 billion, which gives us 80 million. To help visualize this, 80 million people is approximately equal to the entire population of Germany. That means 1% of the world's population would fill about 357 large stadiums, each holding 225,000 people. Therefore, 1% of the world's population is 80 million people. This shows just how large the world's population is, when even 1% represents such a significant number of people.
Yet their voices, their visions, and their moral courage have left imprints so deep, humanity still feels them centuries later. What if I told you that the secret to mastering emotional intelligence has already been lived, tested, and embodied by the world's greatest leaders and visionaries? In this video, you're not just going to hear about emotional intelligence. You're going to see it in action through the lives of icons like Mahatma Gandhi, Eleanor Roosevelt, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and Oprah Winfrey. And here's the twist. By the end, you'll discover how the same skills they mastered are already within your reach, ready to transform your relationships, your leadership, and your influence. But here's the catch. These lessons don't show up in textbooks. They reveal themselves through their failures, their courage, and the emotional battles they fought behind the scenes. So stick with me until the end, because I'll not only connect the dots between these giants, but I'll also share the one emotional intelligence lesson they all lived by, and how you can start practicing it today. 1. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. was not just a preacher, he was a translator of the human spirit. He gave words to pain and hope, carrying the collective grief of a people and transforming it into poetry and policy. He taught the world that reconciliation, not revenge, was the higher road. INFJs lead by listening, by understanding, and by lifting humanity where others would only divide. 2. Taylor Swift, the storyteller. Taylor Swift shows the INFJ's gift for storytelling and emotional connection. Her lyrics are deeply personal yet universal, the hallmark of intuition and feeling. And notice her careful career planning, her fight for ownership of her music. That's INFJ judging at work, balancing heart with structure. 3. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey taught generations that vulnerability is power. By sitting across from her guests and saying, "Tell me your truth," she gave us permission to speak ours. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, mapped our inner worlds. Mother Theresa bent down to the poorest of the poor, reminding us that love is not in words, but in service. These INFJs carry a torch into the darkest corners, not to spotlight themselves, but to guide others home. For 4, Thomas Jefferson, the visionary founder. Thomas Jefferson was not just a founding father. He was a deep thinker with big ideas about democracy, freedom, and progress. INFJs thrive on vision. They see what could be, not just what is. Jefferson's ability to draft the Declaration of Independence wasn't just politics. It was intuition and foresight shaping an entire nation. Number 5, Lady Gaga, the advocate. Lady Gaga is bold and artistic, but underneath the glam is a strong advocate for the marginalized. That combination of creativity and compassion is INFJ to the core. She doesn't just perform, she creates movements, using intuition to sense cultural needs and feeling to connect deeply with her audience. 6. Florence Nightingale, the compassionate reformer. Known as the founder of modern nursing, Florence Nightingale embodied the INFJ's empathy and structured compassion. She combined heart, caring for wounded soldiers, with order by creating systems for hygiene and healthcare that are still used today. That balance of feeling and judging is classic INFJ. INFJs are called the advocates, the counselors, the visionaries. But labels fall short. They are proof that one rare soul rooted in empathy and vision can change millions of lives. They are proof that the softest voices often carry the loudest echoes through history. If this lens is clicking, subscribe and share with a fellow INFJ. More rare type deep dives ahead. Number 7, Al Pacino, the intense observer. Al Pacino, known for roles in The Godfather and Scarface, channels an INFJ's intensity. His characters feel larger than life because Pacino brings depth and psychological insight. That's an INFJ trait. Observing the world closely, then reflecting it back through powerful, layered performances. 8, Sidney Poitier, the Trailblazer. As the first Black man to win an Academy Award for Best Actor, Sidney Poitier broke barriers with grace and integrity. INFJs often fight for justice quietly but powerfully. Poitier used his presence not just to act, but to challenge stereotypes and open doors for future generations. Number 9, Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt redefined what it meant to use your voice when the world told you to stay silent. She turned empathy into action, standing up for human rights, women's voices, and social justice. She once said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." A masterclass in self-awareness and boundaries. Eleanor showed that emotional intelligence isn't just about understanding others, but about owning your worth and teaching the world how to treat you. 10, Nicole Kidman, the private empath. Nicole Kidman is known for her range and her ability to disappear into roles. INFJs often have that chameleon-like quality. They feel others so deeply they can embody almost any perspective. Off-screen, she keeps her life private, another INFJ hallmark, connection with the world, but boundaries for herself. 11, Jamie Foxx, the multi-talented connector. Jamie Foxx isn't just an actor. He's a singer, comedian, and producer. INFJs often surprise people with their range because their intuition drives them to explore multiple creative outlets. What ties it all together? His ability to connect with people, whether it's through laughter, music, or raw emotion. 12, Edward Snowden. The whistleblower, Edward Snowden. One of the most controversial INFJs. His decision to leak classified documents wasn't about attention, but about conscience. INFJs often feel a moral duty to expose injustice, even at great personal cost. That's the INFJ advocate in its rawest form. 13, Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi showed the world that true strength isn't about force. It's about restraint, empathy, and emotional control. His philosophy of nonviolence wasn't weakness. It was the ultimate discipline of the mind and heart. Gandhi taught us that by mastering our emotions, we can lead revolutions without raising a single weapon. His emotional intelligence transformed entire nations and continues to inspire movements for justice and peace today. 14, Mother Theresa. Mother Theresa embodied compassion in action. She turned empathy into service, dedicating her life to the sick, the poor, and the forgotten. Her emotional intelligence lay in her ability to connect with the pain of others without turning away. She proved that kindness, when consistent and courageous, is one of the most radical forms of leadership. 15, Carl Jung. Finally, Carl Jung, the founder of analytical psychology, gave us the very language of personality types, including the INFJ. His ability to observe human behavior, interpret the unconscious mind, and create frameworks for self-discovery shows us the power of inner reflection. Jung's work is a reminder that emotional intelligence begins within. When we understand ourselves, we can better understand the world. From the quiet reflection of Gandhi's fasts, to Eleanor Roosevelt's pen rewriting human rights, from Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream that shook a nation, to Nelson Mandela's unbreakable spirit in a prison cell, to Oprah Winfrey's ability to hold millions in her hand through empathy and truth-telling. This is the INFJ blueprint. This is the legacy of vision turned into action. So whether it's through music, activism, art, or leadership, INFJs shape the world with vision, empathy, and conviction. If you are INFJ, know this: you carry a fire that is not meant to burn you out, but to light the way. The world does not need you to be louder. It needs you to stay true, because the rarest 1% can change the 100%. Which of these INFJs inspires you most? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into personality and emotional intelligence.